Welcome to another episode of Tangled Rights. I'm one of your hosts, Justin W. Wilson, Esquire.
Why are you acting so weird?
I don't know, because the fucking numbers were stopped.
It's fine.
You can pause things, and I didn't know that until just now.
I'm Shane Cox, another attorney, Cox & Wilson Law Firm.
Yes. This is not intended to be legal advice or create a lawyer-client relationship. If you need that sort of stuff, call us if you're in the state of Kansas or Nevada. If not, call somebody else. Good luck. We have a guest, not esteemed.
Thank you.
Not even steamed, just regular.
Thank you.
Unsteamed.
Although your jacket does look pressed.
Well, thank you very much.
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
You want to introduce yourself?
I can.
Please.
I thought you were doing this. My name is Allycia Murphy, and I am quite happy to be here with my also not esteemed friends.
I'm esteemed most of the time. You see me, I'm red all the time. So we met summer of 2017. We did. You want to talk about that?
We were one of 3 people in a big, giant conference room who decided to take the bar here.
Yeah. From out of state, she means, because there were a lot of people from UNLV, which is still the only law school in the state and was the only law school in the state at the time. And so we both had Kaplan. Yeah. So I don't know if we've really talked about this much. There's
I don't think so.
There's bar prep companies, and the idea is if I'm taking the bar exam, yes, I learned some of what I needed to know in law school, but the test itself, you learn how to take the test, what's going to be on it generally, and then they give you broad brush topics. And so there's Themis, Barbary, Kaplan.
Right. There's so many now.
Right, but those are like the main ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I started in law school, it was definitely Barbary and Kaplan.
Barbary and Kaplan are the two. Yeah. And Barbary was all my graduating from UNLV, I'll say a lot of the kids would do Barbary. But then I bought Kaplan because it was cheaper and trying to save money. But I studied with friends that had Barbary. So we would swap.
Ooh, you better not tell them that.
Are they going to come after me?
I don't know.
When I was going through bar prep, it was like Kaplan do their multiples because their multiples were much more on par with what was actually on the bar exam.
And they were robust. Like you could, I want to say that's the selling point for me was because I was going to be a prosecutor, I got a cheaper rate. Like they gave you the public servant rate for the program itself. And then also it was something, there's either more questions or the way they gave feedback on the multiple choice. And that was always my problem. Like I went into the bar having just had to take the MPRE 3 fucking times.
Okay.
Hey, me too.
Bro, I got an 84, an 84, and then a 103.
Nice.
But I got the same score twice on a scaled test. An 85 to practice
here,
specific,
right?
But Nevada's 85.
Well, 85 is the top in the whole country. So
I think
that's
there's one state that's 86.
I forget what DC is. Like DC, I think you had to have a certain score that might have been a little bit higher. And then as long as you passed, you could always waive into DC.
Sure. I don't know. But yeah, so I came into it piss scared of multiple choice because I knew.
Because you already had issues with the MPRE.
Correct.
And they say that's the easier test.
But I knew the ethics, like the actual MPC, model professional code or whatever, backwards and forwards. You could ask me anything you want and I could spit it out. But when you give them those stupid multiple choice questions, it's like the right answer and the more right answer. It was screwing me.
It definitely didn't feel like anything that I had prepared for in my professional ethics classes.
So where did you go to law school?
So I'm a graduate of North Carolina Central University. That's in Durham, North Carolina. It's a historically Black college and university.
Okay. Shane spent some time out that way.
Yes, I did. I served a LDS mission in Charlotte.
Okay.
So Charlotte, I was there 18 months and then in Greensboro for 6 months. So for furthest east I made it was Greensboro. But I feel like Piedmont Triad, Research Triangle, very similar, very close.
Yeah. So you have the triangle, which usually folks think about like Raleigh, Durham, and you're going to think about in terms of colleges, UNC Chapel Hill, Go Hills, that other school in Durham. And then
I'm not sure what one that one is, but it sounds like it sucks.
I mean,
UNLV has history against that school as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Listen, and I will cheer for you guys out here because you did defeat that school for a national championship.
1990, not in 91 though. Yeah. That was rough, but whatever.
We're over it, right? I mean, we still hate Christian Leitner. He's like you guys. Okay. Anyway.
I'm a Jayhawks fan, so I care about one sport.
You hate Duke
some
as
of the
well?
time. Oh, I hate Duke. I hate Duke.
You hate Duke. Absolutely. You also hate UNC though, so.
Yep. And because I went to Wichita State, I hate Creighton. There's several schools that I just don't like.
So you from North Carolina?
I am. I grew up there, was born in Pembroke, North Carolina. Very small little community. It's a Native American community. It's the home of the Lumbee tribe. who actually just got federal recognition this year.
Oh, that's cool.
You're a card carrying member, aren't you?
I am an enrolled member of the Lumbee tribe. Yes, I am.
Sorry, but you do have a card, yeah?
I do.
Right. What percentage are you?
Never really gone through a percentage type rate.
Don't they do it like
they don't do that?
16th
That's
quarter?
not like how they do it.
Yeah,
I thought that's how they did it.
So
That's like
some
disrespectful
tribes,
to some.
So some tribes do what is called blood quantum. That's what you're talking about. My particular tribe does not have blood quantum.
Okay.
What we do have is you must be able to tie your family to folks who were on one of the first rolls that were ever taken for the tribe. But yeah, for nearly 140 years, they'd been fighting to get federal recognition.
And it just happened.
And so it just happened.
Why wouldn't they? Like, because if you can go all the way back to like when they did that roll, and for the people that don't know, explain, because I know you know this history probably way better than me. Explain what that meant, like giving somebody a roll like in the original.
So one of the things that they like to look at, or when they refer back, and when I say they, I just mean like tribal experts in terms of explaining this process, is they would look at some of the census rolls. And so they would have people and they would have certain names that were on those rolls that were able to tie in historically to the area that is the homelands of the Lumbee tribe. So you're thinking Robeson County, North Carolina, you've got Hope County, Scotland, even up to Cumberland County, which is where Fayetteville is. So I went to high school in Fayetteville. And then you just have to be able to establish a presence there, a historical presence. Some of the other things that I know were difficult to establish were language. And so
have they killed it? They being what they did with
I mean,
the federal government I'm talking about.
Right. So you've got colonialism, right? So where we are situated, we being the Lumbee tribe, we would have come into some of the first contact there just because we are kind of close to the coast.
Sure.
And so we don't have a written down spoken language. I know that there are current efforts to revitalize a language, but utilizing so they have tied it back to, I believe, and forgive me if I'm misspeaking, but a Siouan connection. And so they're the Shara, which is a part of the Siouan. And so they've tied it in there and trying to revitalize some language, just drawing in from what they do have. Now you compare it to like the Eastern Band of Cherokee, which is out in the mountains. They were actually able to write down their language. So they had that preservation. They were also set up in a better position in terms of they're in the mountains and it was difficult to actually get there and establish colonies and settlements.
Bother them or interfere.
Sure.
But so where I'm from, there's tons of tribes.
Yeah.
Crow, Blackfoot, Cherokee, Osage, Pawnee, Pahuska.
Right.
My great grandma, when my great grandpa died, married a guy who was high up in the Delaware tribe. He was part of their exec board or something like that.
Okay.
Big deal, whatever. And so like people, I met some people when I was back in Oklahoma recently that they knew who he was. Like, cause they told me they were in the Delaware tribe. I'm like, oh, well, my great grandma's husband. So step great grandpa. And I explained him, said his name and they're like, oh yeah, we knew him. And these guys are old. They're 900 years old, every single one of them. But one of the things I learned was that to get your recognition, which is it's a weird double-edged sword, right? Because back in the day, they would have been sending children off to these schools to like re-educate.
Boarding schools? Absolutely.
Boarding school, but it's like a kind of a, I don't know, like re-education, indoctrination camp, whatever.
I mean,
but it kills part of the language, right? The
theme at that point was to kill the Indian, right?
Right.
To kill the Indian out of them for the assimilation,
civilize
to save,
or whatever.
Right?
And I use that in air quotes.
Jackson.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing there is that they do that. Okay, fine. So you make it to where they don't know their own language.
Sure.
Okay, cool. But then 50 years later, well, you need to know your language.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of and I mean, we've seen this with the government in general, like any lawmaker, maybe they have good intentions, maybe they don't, but there are unintended consequences of things oftentimes. And I get where they're coming from. Hey, we don't want to just have people be making tribes up, right?
Absolutely.
We want to recognize people that were harmed, right? And I do think that's probably part of what they're trying to do. But in those instances, it does seem a little unfair when some of the criteria makes it to where a tribe like yours has to fight for so long.
Right.
When they should just get okay, fine. You don't have this normal requirement, but we can show why you don't. So we'll call it satisfied.
Sure.
Do you see what I'm saying?
And there's two processes. And so that was one of the things, because obviously we had supporters for the recognition and have had, for nearly 140 years. But then you've also, on the other side, you have folks who say that we shouldn't have gotten the recognition. And so again, you can do it through an act of Congress, or there was an administrative process that was created to allow it. And so we had tried to go through an administrative process. And I mean, those can take, 20, 30 years
to have decades or centuries.
Absolutely.
Because the administrative arm of our government is
sure. And so, I mean,
difficult.
My grandmother never saw it. My great grandmother never saw it on back. I mean, the fact that my mom was born in 1957, and so we just got federal recognition for her entire life. She was a member of the tribe, but we just got the federal recognition.
Sure. Well, that's really cool. I mean, I always knew that, because I think you talked about it before, that, because I don't know how it comes up. Oh, you're Native. Okay, cool. And I do recall seeing you post things before I deleted my social media. You've like events or something, if I'm remembering correctly, you've gone to things?
Sure. It could have been events. I mean, growing up, it wasn't uncommon for us to go to powwows. So around the 4th of July, there's always, we call it Lumbee Homecoming. And so folks will come back into town. We'll have, pageantry is actually very big.
Is it like a big tribal meeting also? Or is it just to celebrate?
So the tribal government meets consistently and regularly, right? Okay. So there's an established tribal government with a chairman. You've got representatives from the different places in town. So whether or not that's someone who lives in an outlier, like my family lives in Cumberland County, so we are represented by someone who represents those outliers.
Okay.
Or, you grew up in what would be Bear Swamp, sorry. Or a place like Wakulla, you have representation on the tribal council, who is able to vote and things like that. So there's tribal constitution. Sure. There is all of that governance. I mean, they do things to help out with, they do some housing things for folks. They do some education. And so now, obviously, with having the federal recognition, it just opens up a lot of things for folks. You can now,
well, it's good.
On a cultural side, you can participate in certain powwows that we weren't able to before because we weren't federally recognized, right? Which is another way of, expressing and showing and maintaining the culture. And you're also able to get, other benefits through the government.
It sucks it took that long, but it's good that it happened.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. I mean, I just remember kind of holding my breath even when it was up on, and it was like, okay, it's got to pass this time, but still, you never know.
I imagine at a certain point, it becomes like, you get excited and then you just get smacked down. You get excited, smacked down, do that 100 times. You're like, oh, well.
Who cares?
And then finally it's the one. You're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? It worked. Well, that's really cool.
I had a question about that because in the western half of the state in Charlotte, the Catawba is like the tribe. I don't know how far east they extend but there's definitely a presence in Charlotte. There's some areas that are preserved for them and all that.
So North Carolina had 8 state recognized tribes, and there was only the one federal until this year, which was the Eastern Band of Cherokee. And now you have the Lumbee, but you've got Waccamaw Siouan, Halawasaponi, you've got the Occaneechi, Saponi. I'm going to mess them up, but so there's 8 state recognized tribes.
You got enough of them, and those are complicated enough names.
Yeah.
I think you get a gold star. So was that, I know that your family was involved in that. So growing up, was that always something that you and people in your community were a part of? Even if it wasn't federally recognized, did that kind of shape how you grew up at all?
Well, absolutely. So, I mean, until I moved away. So we moved out of Pembroke when I was getting ready to start the 3rd grade. So we moved to Fayetteville at that point. Fayetteville, rather. So growing up, all of my teachers were Native for the most part. My classmates were Native. Again, we would go out in the summer times, we would go to the pools that were run by the tribe. So, I remember taking cultural classes. So learning how to do different dances like women's traditional. I never got up to women's fancy, but all of this was stuff that was done by the tribe, as a way, we would also take field trips out to the cultural center. So what is now UNC Pembroke used to be called Pembroke State University, which was also at one point I believe it was the Chowan Indian School. So for me, my grandmother was the baby of 11 and they were sharecroppers. And so she had some schooling, but we're not sure how much she truly had, because if you talk to her about the Bible, my grandmother could quote the Bible to you backwards and forwards. So you would
upwards and down, all that. Yeah.
There was never any question on whether or not she knew what was in those pages, but she was also the child of a pastor. So it was expected that she would know, but
your mom was born in the 50s. Your grandma would have been born.
There was 20 years between my mom and my uncle. But my grandma was extremely young. She was 14 when she got pregnant with my uncle, and she had ran away from home, got married at 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to date when your grandma would have been
sometime
born.
around 1920, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
20s.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a completely different world, especially when you're a sharecropper, because part of that, and obviously it's a little bit different where I'm from. We had, it's a primary agricultural area. No sharecropping really, but you'd have people with smaller operations, and they'd have 5 or 6 kids, and it's like especially if hear my grandpa talk about it, like for him to get to go to school all the way through high school was a treat. Right?
Absolutely.
And it's just a different world. People don't understand that, like, especially in coming from here, from an urban area where you're in a rural area, where part of it was like, yeah, we need you to be able to read and write and do basic math. But once you can do that, there's cows that need milked, or there's something that needs planted, or something that needs harvested, or whatever. Especially when, that's a different situation.
Yeah. So. Like my mom will even talk about, she obviously has her high school diploma and all, but she had to pick cotton. She picked tobacco. At a certain point, like my grandma was actually working in a tobacco factory, just preparing the leaf and all. Because again, in Winston-Salem, you've got Lucky Strike, so in Durham there too. So obviously tobacco was a huge crop and source of income.
Did you ever have to do any of that as like a summer job?
I never did. I did have to pick cucumbers occasionally, or sitting down and shelling peas.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd pick cucumbers over shelling peas, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like my fingertips just started tingling.
That's what I'm saying. I bet
bit.
your fucking hands would get raw.
But I mean, there's something to be said about that, because it's not something that we think about. Like my kids don't know what I'm talking about. They just think that, vegetables come out of a can or.
Oh, it's a pizza plant. What are you talking about? It just grows like that.
Right.
The grocery store.
No.
But,
where did you get your meat? What do you mean? It doesn't just come out of the package?
But like vivid memories of growing up down a dirt road, living in a single wide trailer. Yeah. There were hogs off to one side of the road.
You guys had any factory farming, or was it just like larger operations?
My family in particular, like I said, I know.
No, I'm just in the area.
Yeah. So there's like Smithfield is in the area. There's, what is it? I think it's Mountain Air, which does chickens and stuff like that. Man,
so we got lucky. Everybody in my area, it's all cows, but it's not like a feed lot, right? And I say this because in Western Kansas, I had some buddies out by like Dodge City and stuff who their family ran big soy production, big beef, big pig, big chicken. Those things stink.
They do. And you can always tell, like, I
got to help unload a chicken. I don't know what you call it, like a barn basically. And it's got the big ventilation stuff on the one side.
Yeah.
One summer was enough for me. I'm good on all that shit.
So I talk about my mom and my grandma, so my mom was actually adopted. So she was the baby of 7 on that side of things. So I got to know that side of my family as well, my grandmother. So my mom's maternal mother and the grandmother that had probably, the most, gave us the most support in terms of like helping my mom raise me. They worked together. So their families farmed together. They lose contact, and then they're actually working together in a tobacco factory, and they meet up. My grandma, her name was Minnie, but everybody called her Tuss. She was pregnant. She was in, hard way because again, they didn't make a lot of money. Sure. So having another child was just kind of out of the cards for them. And my grandma, again, married, wanted to have another baby. I don't know if she just was unable to. So she said that she would adopt my mom. But it's funny because, again, when we talk about government and documents, like the only name that's on my mom's birth certificate is my grandma Jo and her husband at the time. Like, so we don't know if just, went in, said what her name was and gave the name of, Georgianne Davis or Whitman at the time, rather.
How funny that can happen, right? Like, and again, I get that it's a long time ago, but it's not.
Like in the 50s, yeah. Like it just, you had this piece of paper for a driver's license, right? But it didn't have any photos on it.
Right.
It just had names.
I don't even think they had passports yet.
Are they? Not.
I don't know. In Department of State.
It was well after World War II. That's all I remember. Because I did a little bit of looking into this one time. We talked about something on the pod and it made me look it up. It's a really interesting background. So Fayetteville High School. And then where'd you go to undergrad?
So Fayetteville I graduated from E.E. Smith High School. Deep history in terms of producing, stellar athletes, a lot of students who...
My stupid ass. Right. You played ball somewhere, right? And you were like, no, I'm just tall, Justin.
Justin, I was a cheerleader. Come on.
Well, I mean, I knew you have like, you're so into basketball, and I guess maybe it makes sense because of the way some colleges have like a cult
religion
following.
out there.
But I truly,
Thank you for saying
in
that.
my brain, I truly have it that you played basketball somewhere. Did you have friends that played basketball or something?
Absolutely. So like my high school team, every single other, person that was on our starting lineup, aside from myself, went off and played college ball. I decided to go and be a student. So I went to UNC Chapel Hill, but we also had a connection there. One of the assistant coaches for the women's team was best friends with my high school coach. So Coach Tracy Williams and my coach, LaTanya Hardy, they played together at Pembroke State for UNCP.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice little tie-in. And, so I always had a connection there, had the opportunity if I wanted to try to walk on. But at that point, I was like, I just want to be a student.
Sure.
So graduated from there, and then went to law school at North Carolina Central University.
And then after that, you barred in to North Carolina.
Yeah, so had to take the bar a few times. So it's a 2-day bar there. I think I missed by 10 points that first time that I didn't pass, and then signed up to take it again in February, because what you don't learn is, at least in North Carolina, so what you could do is basically you would have a continuing application. So you would just file an addendum to the next test.
That way you don't have to redo it. And we've talked about how shitty the application for the bar is.
Yeah. So like the first time I had to take it, paid almost $1,000. And then the next time I only had to pay $400.
What a gift.
Hooray.
What a treat.
Truly.
What a treat.
But
did you say thank you when they...
if I had stopped and didn't take it in February and then waited to take it again in July, I would have had to pay the full price again. So yeah, not something that I knew going in. I just knew that I was going to take it until I passed. So I actually did not pass that February either. But I mean, completely looking back on it now, my mind was not in the right place.
Sure.
I was certainly harboring resentment from not passing it the first time. I was just like, what do you mean I didn't pass? It
sucks when you're somebody who has achieved, and I'm not going to say we're all winners, but you know what I mean? If you did well enough in college to get into law school, you did well enough in high school, you've stepped up every single time you get validation that you are good enough, right?
Yeah.
And so then when something like that happens, it sucks. What the fuck are you talking about? I've been good enough this whole time, and now suddenly 10 points. What do you mean? Especially if you get good enough grades in law school,
And honestly, I don't know if it would have been worse for me to have missed it by a significantly larger amount. But I think it was just something about like 10 points, like really 10 points.
And every state's different. Like in Nevada, people miss it by 0.5 point. And it's like the standard. I don't know how they grade it, but it's just when you hear people talk about having not passed it here, it's always a very small number. Whereas people in Kansas I've talked to, because I'm licensed there as well, it's UBE.
Right.
The stories I hear about people that didn't pass are different, right? These are the numbers here. These are the numbers there. I'm sure the numbers in North Carolina are different. At the time, it wasn't UBE or anything, was it?
No, it was what we took like out here.
Yeah,
so,
state specific.
Day one was all essays. So we had 12 essays.
Oof.
In
8 hours?
12 state specific essays.
Ugh.
So we do 6 in the morning and then 6 in the afternoon.
That sucks.
And then, so it was 3 hours each time.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then, but I mean, that's a lot of information to try to get into 30 minutes.
Yep. Sure.
And
is that where you had difficulty, was with the essays?
No, my essays were not. Honestly, it was my multiples.
Those are tough.
Yeah.
If I would have picked up a couple of extra multiples, I would have passed kind of thing. So I take it again in February. At this point, I'm working because got to pay bills.
Yep.
Wait, what do you mean?
I know. They weren't just given to me.
They didn't just pause your rent?
No.
What?
Unfortunately not.
Why not?
They
didn't do that for me either. It fucking sucks.
That's tough.
I'm not being a smart ass. It's just, it sucks because some people they hear stuff about people who go to law school and they're like, oh, ugh. Like we just had shit handed to us. And most of the people.
Some kids did
had
in law school. Good for you. Parents were attorneys or like the governor or something like that. I
mean, good for you. Good for you if that's what you got. But that wasn't. I would say, by and large, and having gone to Syracuse, I went with some kids who were wealthy, not rich. The next step up, like families own factories, or family has like a house. This one kid would,
It'd be nice to have a family attorney. Why don't you go to law school, Chet?
Yeah. Maxwell, apply for law school, sir. And like when this one kid, he was really, really nice, but he was like Sperry's with like a fucking ascot all the time. Oh, well, we're going out on the yacht for Thanksgiving. What are you doing, Justin?
Yeah,
you're going back to Kansas?
I'm gonna go and work in the chicken and waffle restaurant.
Yeah, right. So it's not everybody has the same experience, and so it does suck to prep for that test while you're working.
Yeah,
especially I can't, because I was very lucky. I think that they probably got my scores mixed, so some poor bastard didn't pass.
Also named Justin Wilson.
Justin W. Wilson. It's important. There's another Justin Wilson in town who practices, and at first when I wasn't, because I don't like doing that, I think it makes me sound pretentious, but I started getting his shit.
Esquire you add on at the end is what makes you sound
pretentious. Okay, sorry. No, it's doctor. No, I'm kidding. I would, if any of you ever see me doing that, you have my authority at that moment to execute me. That's fair. It does blow. Yeah,
it did, but it gives you grit, right? So we get up, I would literally go to work at a restaurant that we slang chicken and waffles.
Was that what it was called? Chicken and waffles?
It was called Dame's Chicken and Waffles. It was in the heart of downtown Durham. Dame was actually, our connection was he grew up in Fayetteville too. So we had that. But I went in, interviewed, was there eating some food. He was like, hey, I need some servers. I was like, well, I have some server experience. He was like, well, come on down. I'll get you a job. So went down, got a couple t-shirts because that was what our uniform was. And it said what the cluck was.
Nice.
I love that.
I want to go.
I'll bet you those chicken and waffles are bomb.
They were phenomenal.
Yeah. Those kind of places.
Chicken and waffles in Durham, North Carolina.
So you took the test again?
Yeah. So I take it in February. And I honestly, when you think about things of just like those moments in time, those core memories, I can remember being in the restaurant on a Sunday. I was the on-shift manager. Honestly, we'd probably just popped bottles because in North Carolina, you can't serve beer or wine until noon.
Yeah.
And I remember opening bottles for folks to get mimosas. And then I get a call. And I believe it was 10 days before I was supposed to take the February exam that my grandma Jo had passed away. And I just remember just being in this complete haze of, what just happened. She was fine, and we had,
and
spoken.
this is the grandma that your mom was adopted to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So she, again, there was a time point. So my mom's a nurse, so she would work in hospitals, and so I would be with my grandma. So there was oftentimes that I was her little shadow. So going around to check on the great uncles. Like I said, she was a baby of 11, so we went and saw her brothers and sisters that were still alive and check on them and all of that.
So very close.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to lose her was, just completely detrimental.
Sure.
And you still took the test?
And still took the test.
Oh, wow.
And,
that's rough.
The mindset was certainly not there.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So when I didn't pass that time, it was just like, okay. Then you really just start to question, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Maybe I go back to school for some other degree. And, I had a really great mentor who was just like, no, just stop. Here's the name of a person that does private tutoring. I know it's, a little more expensive than what you've had to pay for your bar prep stuff, but she's really great. And so I went that route. So still slinging chicken and waffles and paying my rent that way. And did a little bit of e-discovery because I did have my JD at that point.
Sure.
And so, just
contract work basically.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Looking at documents, is it responsive? Is it not responsive?
Fun. The fun part of being a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't do insurance defense.
Got to do that. That helped out, being able to pay my tutor and everything. And so when I took the bar in July of 2012, so a year later, a full year, I was actually successful. And so I passed it. But man, talk about, again, other things that stick out. That year, we had these absolutely horrendous thunderstorms that were rolling through as we were taking the exam. So when you take the bar exam in North Carolina, they put you on the state fairgrounds in these large buildings where they house cattle.
They're not the buildings with the open sides, are they?
They can open.
Is
they'll
it a
roll
tent?
up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not a tent. No,
it's a permanent structure. I know the kind of, because we have them too.
Yep.
But some of them just have literally, you'll have 2-inch pipe on the side with some chain link fence halfway up. And then the next half is all like an enclosed building.
Yeah.
So it's basically like you imagine a building that's pulling its skirts up.
Right. So these were
if it was raining, that was how
full
it was.
metal sides.
What city?
Raleigh.
Okay. Is that the only place they administer the test is Raleigh? They don't do it in Charlotte as well? Okay.
Yeah. So everyone was coming into town, obviously, to take the test.
In the middle of a thunderstorm.
You just walk in and then it's just like rows and rows and rows of basically a 2 foot by 6 foot table. You sat on one end, your, test partner sat on the other end.
That's not so bad.
They ran, power everywhere and you were in quadrants. So we're taking the test and everyone hears them run in. I was on my computer.
Okay.
Yep. So thankfully I had actually charged my computer the night before.
Smart girl.
More than just a hat rack, my dad would say.
It's almost like you have some life experience. Weird.
So they roll through and all of a sudden we're in the middle of the essay portion. And I remember, and the lights go off. And like, you just kind of hear the rumblings and then you do hear a little bit of just like the tap, tap, tapping. Cause some people are still going.
You kept
I
fucking
absolutely
going.
kept going.
Yeah.
I didn't
You're
stop.
like, nope, not stopping.
Absolutely not. I was like, whatever happens,
and
gonna keep going.
For those of you that don't know, the reason that this is important that she kept going is because at the front, there's a little bitty clock and it's not plugged into the wall. It has batteries and it's counting down. And when that thing's done, you are too.
Yeah. So each of the quadrants, and I was lucky that I was on a quadrant that was close to like an emergency exit. So once the generator kicked on, those lights were lit up. So I had like the ambient lighting, so I could still
read your test prompts.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, like I didn't stop. I was just like going to keep going. Like people's computers started dying because they were old and no one had battery life anymore. So then the lights come back up and everyone's like, okay, keep going. A little bit longer. Boom. Lights go down again. I think at that point, they ended up having to give people an extra 45 minutes just due to all of the downtime that had occurred.
That's good. Because then
I didn't take it. I was I'm done.
If you would have needed it though, you'd have had extra time because you were smart enough to utilize the time as it was ticking away. That's good.
I mean, I was one of those people too that I was just like, once I gave my answer, I needed to just leave it alone because every time I went back and changed it, that's when I messed up, right?
Same.
Yeah.
So
I always get in my head about that because I'm the same way. I either know it or I don't. And if I know it, I spit out the right analysis, blah, blah, blah. But I'll be sitting there and I'm not focusing on anything around me. I don't know what's going on. But then once I click send, I'll look up and I'll be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you're like, first. Why am I done?
Why am I always first? This is stupid. I'm wrong. And then just
I don't think you can really like relay to somebody how tough the bar exam is and like how just grueling in those few days. And or not just those few days because their stress comes before and then you think about an answer afterward and be like, I didn't say that. Oh, I knew that. Why didn't I do that?
And the absolute worst thing that could happen is you would walk past someone and they'd be talking about it and they'd be like, yeah, like that criminal question was this and this and this. And you're like, I didn't see a criminal question. You're like, crap.
So one thing that I did, and I realized that after, I don't remember what day it was for us, but we had a contracts question. I went through offer acceptance. But I completely skipped the third step.
No consideration.
No consideration. And I got through it and because I studied the shit out of contracts. I had a really tough professor and I was really worried about it because it's so weird. And like we get done, we submit everything and we get out there and I'm like, oh man. And someone said contracts and I was like, yeah, I knew it was a contracts question. I did this, that, and the other. And I was like, I went through my offer. I went through my set. And the guy's like, what? I was like, I left out consideration entirely. And he goes, oh. And I was like, fuck.
Right? Yeah, like that, like, I am so sorry. You just did not get all the points on that.
Well, that's a third of that section of the question. Yeah. That could be your half point.
Absolutely.
I
think I purposely avoided you because I was just like, I cannot.
Oh, let's talk about that part. So we studied together up until like the last 2 weeks.
I think so. Yeah.
And like I think I was fine the majority of it, but the closer we got to that last 2 weeks, the more wound up I got.
Oh gosh, Justin. Like
I was like Chicken Little, wasn't I?
Like
you could have plugged me into a fucking socket and powered a house.
You probably could have. Yeah. Like, you remember the old school, like potatoes that was like, yeah, that would have been you. And you would have just like
blown the light bulb up. Bow.
Yeah. I was just like, all right, Justin, I'm here if you need me, but I'm not actually here. I can't. Yeah. I
remember the exact day we were doing something and I just went, God damn it, I'm going to fail. And you said, I can't study with you anymore. And you got up and walked out. And I was just like, my friend.
Because at this point, it was just us in that big giant room.
Because
the one guy,
he fucked off like right away.
I think his name was Michael. I think I've seen him pop up. He's practicing attorney. He didn't pass on the first time.
Good for him.
Good job, bud. All three of us passed.
Yeah.
But
shocking for one of us. Me. It's me. Because part of it is you can't get in your own head.
Yeah.
And I was really, really in my own head.
Oh, yeah, you were 100%. And there were like days that I had the marbles to be like, no, come on back. Like, let me pull you out of that. But then right towards the end, I was just like, and I can't do this.
You took Nevada before Kansas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your first one. Okay.
Yeah, my first one.
Yeah, but you also didn't know. And honestly, at that point, I didn't know, but I found out I was pregnant right before the bar.
Huh?
And so that could have also added to it.
Let's how did you get to Nevada? Oh, wait, back up. So you passed law school, you eventually passed the bar. You were a prosecutor out there, right?
Yeah, I was.
District?
I did we call it the Fighting First. So it was the 7 counties out in the furthest northeast portion, right up along the Virginia border.
Okay. And you did that for how long?
And from 2013, so almost full 4 years, because I ended up leaving to come out here.
Right.
Honestly. National Championship 2017, North Carolina was playing. And so I'm driving through Alabama and watching it on my phone as my sister was driving so that I could actually watch it. So we won the national championship that year.
Go Heels.
Go Heels. So yeah, that's how I ended up getting out here.
Okay.
Because I met a guy.
That's what I was trying to say. I was like, it was for a boy, but like, I'm not going to say it.
I mean, he's a Marine.
Before we leave North Carolina, I want to talk just briefly about Bojangles.
Oh, yes.
And Cookout.
Okay.
Because I told Justin the words cookout recently. And he was like,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I like going to cookouts.
You're like, no, cookout without the S.
You've been to Bojangles here now. They're in Vegas.
They are.
How do you feel about them being here? Do you feel it's the same?
I mean, food wise, like the food it tastes the same because again, it's just franchise, right?
Does it?
So like,
I think so. Like it's been a long time since I've had Cookout, since 2009. So going recently, I think it tastes the same, but I'm not sure.
You mean Bojangles, not Cookout?
Bojangles. Sorry. Yeah, not Cookout.
Yeah. I mean, like I remember when it opened and my husband and I like going down and like all I wanted was Cajun filet biscuit combo. Like,
oh yeah. You wouldn't have one. He doesn't like spicy food, so he wouldn't. But
yeah. Anything other than like pepper is too spicy.
Or a bowberry biscuit.
Dude,
they have a bowberry biscuit.
You might like a bowberry.
Anything beyond blended tomato is spicy to me. Look at my fucking face. I'm not pink for no reason, dude. Like my body says no to anything with any level of capsaicin in it.
Oh, I love Cookout.
Sometimes
Cookout's
air
amazing.
is spicy. Yeah. I'm kidding. But like so I can eat a little bit of pepper, but I have to have other shit on it. If pepper was the only spice on something, I'm going to be sitting there going, and I'm going to get even redder. As if that was possible. There's like probably a hat back up there that like it would make sense. But so I do. It is. I am happy to be able, if I want to go get Bojangles, I can. You know. But Cookout, man. Like,
is it what's higher for you? Because Cookout for me is like the #1 North Carolina staple.
I mean, I do love a good Cookout shake.
Yeah.
Like a strawberry shake from Cookout.
Or the watermelon is seasonal. That's really good.
That sounds pretty good.
It's amazing.
They do like a banana pudding one. Like when you pull up and you'll have to try to find like, just Google like Cookout menus and just see like the plethora of things.
Well, he knows Sonic pretty well because Sonic's based in Oklahoma. Like it's a drive up, like more of a drive up walk up thing. So it's
like that where it's got stalls.
It doesn't have stalls. Most of them don't have stalls. No, it's just a little shack.
So you drive. It's like a round, like you're going through the drive-through.
It does have a drive-through, but also
like
walk
the fancy
up.
ones actually have 2 drive-thrus.
Yeah,
and then it'll be like at the front, you've got a couple picnic tables or something. You walk up, you can order and eat there. You can order and fuck off back to your car.
Yeah, most of the time it's like the late night place that folks will go to, and you just like at that point you're just
it's from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
It is like North Carolina.
The way you describe it makes it sound good.
Like it is quite honestly probably the most expansive milkshake menu I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Really? Do they have peanut butter as an add-on?
They have.
I'm sure.
There's like
if they don't,
well, they have like a Reese's shake. They're pretty sure there's like a peanut butter shake. So
okay.
In the Eastern Carolina, do they have Whataburger? Not Texas Whataburger, but North Carolina Whataburger, which is completely different. Okay, it's in Charlotte. It's fantastic, but like a cash only place, like real diner burger spot.
Listen,
Texas.
So
I thought you were about to start talking about like barbecue and that's
barbecue. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole.
I mean,
that's a whole different topic, but. We've been talking a long time already, and we didn't even say why you're here. Like what's going on in your life?
We're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, so you moved here for a boy. Now you're married.
We are.
So it worked. You found out you were pregnant. Well, I mean, you didn't meet because you said you were your husband. So you married that same boy.
I did meet him.
Man, sorry.
Marine.
Boy. Yeah. Sounds good. What's his favorite flavor of crayon?
I know.
Is
yours purple?
Grape. Get fucked. It's grape. You put respect on its name. Yeah, no, it's grape. Prosecuted there, and you passed the bar and everything. Found out you're pregnant during the bar.
Yeah, right before the bar, I find out I'm pregnant. And funny enough, I think it was about 10 days before the bar. Yeah, like July 17th. I was just looking at photos. I think is the day that I found out I was pregnant. Oof. So, yeah, go in and show up.
At least it's not bad news.
No, it wasn't bad news. Was excited. My only concern at that point was just like, oh my gosh, am I going to get sick? Because morning sickness was a thing. Great thing about the bar here was like, I could have like the hard candies as long as you were taken out of like I had so much just to nom on during the thing. Yeah. It was like, just didn't want to get sick or have to get up and, keep going to the bathroom. But
sure. Because you can do that as many times as you want. Mm-hmm. Just going to cut into your test time.
And where we were, the bathroom was like super far away. It felt
I didn't use it once.
Did you guys go take it at UNLV?
Yeah. Were we in the student union?
Yeah. And since
it's like the second floor of the student union,
we sat pretty close to each other, I think.
Yeah, we weren't that far apart.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's the same place I took it to.
Yeah. So get done with the bar. How long after that did you get married?
We got married that year, so August 1st of 2017.
Okay, so
literally
July, August,
right
after.
Right after the bar, we got pregnant, or not got pregnant. We got married.
Right, because
that's like within a week, because it's always the last week of July, right?
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
Actually, one of the little chapels.
I figured as much because a quick, if you're planning a wedding quick, you can't.
I think the term you're looking for is shotgun. Sure.
Well, no, I mean,
we don't want to throw that word out.
It's only a shotgun wedding.
I don't know you at all.
You don't want to, right?
No, it's only a shotgun wedding is if a family member of yours
if
is like, hey, you're going to marry her now.
If the father-in-law, right? That's the old trope,
the father-in-law. Right? But it's also like you just planned a quick wedding. Okay, cool.
We did. So my mother-in-law came. She, other than the officiant, that was our witness.
Okay.
Yeah. So nice. We did that. It's actually not too far from here at the building, but the chapel's not there anymore. I think it's the one that's over, like with the big drive-through now, across from the Jewel.
Yeah,
I think that's the folks. I think they just took over that area. But
okay, and then where did you end up working after you passed the bar?
After I passed the bar, man,
because I imagine that's another layer, like, and it's something probably you thought about, like if you didn't already have an offer. Fuck, now I'm going to be a brand new attorney, about to have a baby. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that puts a wrinkle in, because. It's difficult, right?
Yeah,
like an employer is trying to hire an employee that can be an employee. And if you're pregnant, you're going to have to take time off. Things are going to be difficult. So I'm sure that was an extra layer of trouble, right?
Yeah.
Or just another fucking hoop to jump through once you've already jumped through so many goddamn hoops.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like, I'll find a place, right? I had this confidence. I'm like, I have all this prosecutorial.
I was going to say, you got the experience.
I'm like, surely I can get hired by a prosecutorial agency out here. So I actually interviewed with the DA's office. I was pregnant at the time. I like to think that no one could tell that I was pregnant. I just, felt very bloated. But so I was not successful that round.
Was it to go straight in as a deputy?
I think they were doing interviews and it was like, hey, I think we have positions open. Could be for a deputy or a clerk. Would you be open to? And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Because
I have a problem with that.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little salty about that because they put us through the ringer to get that clerk position. And then right after we started, a bunch of people get hired. Oh, these are the brand new deputies. It's like, you motherfuckers, you didn't pull us. You took them rather than us, and we're already here. I was a little irritated about it, but
you're over it. I can tell.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Now he fights all the time with the DA's office. So.
Oh, that's your best offer? No, it's not. We can do a lot better. Dude, the whole reason that we're even here right now is because when I came back from Kansas, I reapplied. And they were like, look, you did great when you're out there. You got all the experience. We really like you. You know criminal law. We want you to clerk again. And I said, fuck you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this right now. So I'm not mad about it.
You didn't come out for a boy or a girl the second time, huh?
No. Even the first. I came out for a job.
Yeah.
My stupid fun story. So second day of the bar, I get a phone call while we're in. Voicemail, I answer it. It's the investigator from the DA's office. Because I'd gotten a DUI in 2007. I was upfront about it. Well, he calls me and I get the voicemail saying, hey, this is me from the DA's office. Call me back. And I didn't know what the fuck it was about. I was like, oh, cool. I'm talking about my start date. And he's like, yeah, we just need to do some more investigation before we can formally offer you. And I'm like, the fuck you say? I moved here because I have a formal job offer in an email. And he's like, no, that's not formal. And I'm like, well, it doesn't say anything about an investigation. And I was like, I'm in the middle of the bar exam. Can this possibly wait? And he's like, oh, That's this week. Yeah, just call me back on Monday. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, it's like, it's Thursday now. And I'm like, fuck, do I not have a job? Like, it's so it sucks. Yeah, we all have our dumb hoops to jump through. Sorry, I thought of that.
Okay.
So you got,
he likes to talk about himself.
You're pregnant.
Yeah.
At the bar, everybody has something, right? It sucks. So you applied, you didn't get into the DA's office. Where'd you end up going?
So then it was just kind of figured out. My husband at the time was a PO1. So, it's just, we got a baby coming. There's just one source of income right now. So yeah, I mean, he did as much overtime as he could and, obviously carried us through that point. And then, man, that fast forwards towards like the end of 2017. So yeah, pregnant, we go off, meet some of his family. His grandfather, who was really important for him growing up, actually passes away that year at the end of 2017. So I remember like being there for that. And then in January of 2018, we actually lose our baby. So we lose Jameson at 29 weeks, 5 days.
Jesus.
So like having to go through all of that. And I mean, I was definitely not in the mindset to try and like go and reapply to go work anywhere.
Right.
Looking back at it, we should have definitely gone into some counseling to truly deal with that grief. Even for him, it was, I don't think he ever really got to grieve the loss because he was so worried about me.
Right.
And whether or not like what was going to happen to me, like, was he going to lose a baby and a wife? And so, we talk about it now and just like, yeah, looking back, we should have gone and done some therapy.
Is it one of those things where when you look back on it and you talk about it, you're like, I have no idea how we got through this. We did it. We're obviously here to get today and we're fine. But it's like you look back on it and you don't know how you went from left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot.
Honestly, yeah, there were days that I don't remember from the time of like waking up and then like going to bed. Like I don't remember the details. I just know what happened.
You're just like on autopilot, just alive.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that was difficult. And then, not to like, you can talk to anyone who's ever had like child loss, either stillborn or just, early infant deaths. And like the next time, if you are lucky enough to get pregnant, like there's this level of excitement that you want to have, but then the fear is oftentimes overpowering. And I just remember like, we didn't tell anyone that we were pregnant for the longest time with Connor. And so,
how old is he now?
Connor is 7. It's our little rainbow baby with hair redder than yours.
Yeah, that is a weird thing. When I seen that picture, I was like, what the fuck? How did that come out of you? I mean, I get that your husband's pretty redheaded, but like...
It's on my side too, because it's a recessive gene. So you've got to have it on both sides.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so we went from a loss in January of 2018 to then having our son Connor in December of 2018. And like, again, talk about, just the mixed emotions, because every time during the pregnancy, you're like, all right, we got to the 12 weeks. We can breathe a little bit. Now we got to the 20-week anatomy scan. We can breathe a little bit. Okay, 29 weeks is coming up.
And how old were you at this point?
You're not supposed to ask how old a woman is.
Let me ask it this way. Were you a high-risk pregnancy or not?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was.
The reason I'm asking for people that have children or it changes the dynamic depending upon the age of the mother.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing because it's funny. Like they call it a geriatric
at 35,
at 35, you're geriatric. Yeah. And that's the reason I asked that question. It wasn't to be a jerk. It was just to like, because I have a child myself, more recent than Shane. Shane has it. He understands this stuff. And it's just to like kind of get the lay of the land of like, oh, what do I, as far as what I know, are you dealing with? And if you're under that, a little bit less, a little bit different stuff. And if you're older and over that, it's different. That's the reason I was asking.
You also, everybody wants to know like why, like what happened. And there's just no answer. Again, we were given the chance and we had to make a decision very quickly after having to deliver this, this little body at 29 weeks. He was 2 pounds when he was delivered, I think 214. And then I just remember like just holding him, right? Like all throughout the night. And it finally got to a point where like, they were being gracious with the time, but at a certain point you started to kind of feel like, hey, we kind of got to have the room. Like we need to, because again, like other people need to have babies. And just like looking at the nurses at one point, I was just like, you have to take him from me because I can't put him down.
Right.
And then having to make the determination on whether or not we were going to pay for, an autopsy or necropsy at that point, which was like, hey, we can't guarantee that anything will come up because everything was normal. The placenta is normal, all these things. So
there's no obvious reason. So,
so, it's just one of those things you just got to kind of deal with, and never knowing and being okay with not knowing.
Honestly, dude, I don't even know how you had another one. Because, you and I've talked about my situation, which pales in comparison to yours, not even remotely the same.
No, I remember being super excited for you and like, how are things going?
Right.
And knowing that, Bobby was due soon. And like, I remember not hearing from you for a little while. And then finally, when we did catch up and I was like so excited, I was like, oh, do you have pictures? And then I just remember being in my office and you just like going through and telling me everything that you guys had to deal with there.
Yeah.
And
it was a weird thing, man. So I don't think I could ever do it again.
Like, it's one of the most beautiful and terrifying experiences for sure.
And people that have never done it don't understand how dangerous it is for the mom and for the baby.
Yeah.
Like that was the number one cause of death up until like 1940, whatever, when we'd gotten to like the modern medicine era. It sucks. And it's crazy, but you have 2 now.
We do. So after we had Connor, we got pregnant again in 2019. So we have a COVID baby. That's Hartley.
Not quite Irish twins?
No, they are 20 months apart.
Okay. Yeah. That's too bad. I always like that, Irish twins. I think it's funny. Gluttons for punishment. I couldn't imagine doing it that fast.
Oh, trust me. There were days that it was like, oh man. Yeah.
Why did I do this?
We did not think this through.
And were you at the city attorney's office by then?
I was. So I started working for the city attorney's office when Connor had just turned 6 months. So in 2019, like I still have I had to bring him with me because Rob was still on in the reserves at that point, and he was drilling out of Oahu for like 30 days at a time.
Sure.
And so it was just me, and I like had a hire date, and I was like, all right, I got to go and do all my onboarding stuff. So here's me pushing my little stroller with Connor.
Were they cool about it?
Yeah. No,
That's
they
good.
were.
It seems like they're a very tight knit office. Like all the people that I see interacting, they seem like they mesh very well. So I can imagine that would promote like kind of a familial environment.
Yeah. And I got, again, I got really lucky with who I got paired with for kind of like my onboard training, because she was also a mom, and she, was kind of just out of some of the things that I was getting ready to go to. So she was a phenomenal source of like, okay, yeah, you're getting ready to hit this, this sleep regression, just stick at it. It usually is done within a week. So don't change up anything. Right. And, so
it's like a baby mentor,
kind of like a baby mentor. And also like, she understood like the brain fog that was associated with, and like at that point, getting back into the courtroom and, adjusting, because there was an adjustment period at that point for me.
Because it'd been just a little bit since you've been in a courtroom. So explain to the people what the jurisdiction of municipal court is. Because obviously we talk about limited jurisdictions at different levels. So what does that mean? So
for municipal court, we handle all of the misdemeanors that occur within the incorporated city limits of Las Vegas. So that's anywhere from your vehicular manslaughters to traffic citations for speeding. And so we have 6 departments there, 6 criminal departments, and we also have a dedicated traffic court where all of those cases are handled.
And what's the general geographic range for that? Because I know you get misdemeanors over in justice court, but it's because they occurred outside of
your city of Las Vegas so awkwardly.
Yeah, isn't it like goofy shaped, kind of like that thing on your arm?
Yeah,
like on your wrist.
Thank you. Lots of odd shapes. And you've got county pockets, like particularly up in like the Northwest where there's horse country, like horse
it's
properties.
A state, right?
It is a state. Thank you.
I just made it smart.
Focus.
This is what they did in bar prep. Focus, Justin. Look here. Okay.
What? Yeah. So we just have to be very careful too, and making sure that we're doing our jurisdictional checks, because.
Do you ever have that happen where it's
absolutely
like maybe it's accidentally just across the street, like even to where you could throw a rock to it?
Yeah. So we have, when the reports come in, we have data entry folks who will start to put everything in for us, and they will do kind of like a first line check. Here we go back to electronic discovery, right? They'll do that first line check. And if it's anything that appears like it could be close to jurisdiction, then they'll give it to one of us who handle the screening. So
if it was well within, then it's like, okay, this is in the center. There's not a question here.
Or if it's, sometimes like something will happen inside the city and then they'll drive out into like county jurisdiction, like for instance, like a DUI, right?
Sure.
Well, the driving conduct still occurred within city jurisdiction. if they're driving recklessly in the county, I can't charge obviously for the reckless driving that occurred afterwards, but I can still charge for the DUI.
Have you had cases like that where they're a hybrid, where you've got one crime from here, but during the pursuit, you get another crime, you refer it over to the DA's office, concurrent prosecution?
Generally, no. If it's something that's close like that, then particularly like I'll look at which crime is, more serious. So in that case, my example, the DUI would be more serious. So I would just keep it.
Right. Just forget the reckless. Who cares? I mean, from that perspective, it's like, because I don't even know if you'd be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. Unless the driving conduct occurred within the jurisdiction of the city that was also reckless driving, then no.
Okay. So you've been doing that since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So total, you got 10 years of prosecution experience. It sounds like damn near.
2013, and we're now in what year? 26?
2026. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like if you took the 4 and then the 6 and mashed them together, because obviously it's more than 10 years from 2023. With your departments, you guys move around a lot. So because I've seen you personally, like we're on opposite sides of cases in different departments. 1, 6, 4, whatever.
Yeah. So we have a rotation basis. So our line deputies, the folks that you're used to seeing on a consistent basis, will stay in a department for 3 months and then they'll go to the next department.
Oh, that's quick.
It doesn't feel quick like when you're in it some days. Some days you're just like, man, like, when do I rotate?
Because Henderson does January to December. So a whole calendar year before they split. So
they also have 2 people in a department.
They have a 2 in every single
one.
Like and then they go like opposite directions. They don't go together too.
Yeah.
And there's only 3 departments there. So
I see. Yeah. So 6 departments and 1 line deputy. And then, and we handle...
About Henderson?
We handle we have the highest caseload of all the municipalities.
I would guess.
Our second only.
Boulder City's got a ton though. Haven't you heard?
Mm-hmm. I hear about that special prosecutor.
Watch out.
Yeah. So I think we're second only to the Regional Justice Center in terms of handling misdemeanors.
Sure.
No, that's where we have the second most cases.
Yeah.
Though.
What I was going to say is it was a joke. Like sometimes that 3 months can feel a long time depending upon the deputy.
Sure.
Not so much a deputy that's not there anymore, but there was one fellow that...
I'm sure some deputies have the same
feelings about Justin
when Justin walks in.
Of course. I'm always so nice. I'm the nicest guy.
You're what?
I'm always very nice to start. Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm great, great. And then as soon as one of us is shitty, then we're just going to play the shit games until we get to the shit pile, and that's fine. We can do that.
So did we mention what? Like you're here for a purpose,
right?
We've been going for 57 minutes now. So
sorry, we were just bullshit counting.
We should get to that part.
Prosecuting for 10 years, and now you're looking to change careers.
I am. So we had a judge, Judge Susan Rogers. She retired back in, I think officially it was in November. And so her seat is open. So I'm running for a municipal court judge for Department 2. So kind of exciting stuff.
Who's been standing in there?
Pete Bellin, Judge Bellin, rather.
Yeah. I kind of...
Also Marine.
Yeah, really. The best people.
How many applicants are there right now?
3 people have filed into the race.
Okay. So when is there a primary? I live in the city of Las Vegas. I could be one of your constituents.
You are a constituent and you are a voter.
I'm a voter. Justin doesn't live in the city of Las Vegas. I think Austin does now.
I'm not at the city of Las Vegas?
No, you are not.
Oh, shit.
You're not.
Okay.
You're in unincorporated Clark County.
Okay, whatever. It's my address says Las Vegas.
Which is really
different.
It's super confusing because even when I talk to my family who live outside of the area, they're like, oh, we have an auntie who's in Las Vegas. And I talk to the auntie and she's in Pahrump. And I'm like,
that's not even the same county.
And then there's people that think they live in Las Vegas. And
I thought I did.
Really
it says when I give you my address to send me a letter, it says Las Vegas. I don't fucking know, dude.
But the Las Vegas map is weird.
It is. So
weird. But I promise I live in the city of Las Vegas. Okay. What would you say to me to convince me to vote for you?
So again, what you want is efficiency. You want someone who's going to be fair and impartial and who's going to apply the law consistently. That's me. I handle cases in these courtrooms and have done so consistently. I have the most experience of all of the people who are going to be in your race. So if you want someone who's going to be able day one to come in and handle the caseload and is going to apply the law fairly and consistently, that's me. So make sure that you vote Murphy for municipal court.
Boom.
I'm voting. I don't give a fuck what they say.
Okay,
I'm writing that shit down. Las Vegas Municipal Court, Department 2, Murphy. You better
you
count
got
it.
tiny houses.
Is this
in
city
your
of
back.
Las Vegas here? We can put the address here.
You are city. I would
I
not.
think that's
I do
some
not
kind of
advocate
crime.
that anyone do anything
Commit voter
of this
fraud.
sort.
We don't like that here.
There's a case of that.
So if you're successful, what does that look like? Because I know people from your office have probably I'm sure they've applied and gotten it before. So what does that look like for you? What happens next?
Sure. So there's a primary on June 9th.
Mm-hmm.
In order to be successful in the primary and not have to go to the general election in November, you have to secure 50% plus one. So 50% of the vote plus an extra vote. And
I was like, why don't they just say 51%?
I know.
No,
But if it's
50% of the vote plus one vote.
Okay, understood.
And so if you are able to attain that, which again, there's 3 people in the race, so it's,
there's a chance, but probably
it's been
happened.
It has been done before.
It happened by a sitting municipal judge.
Absolutely.
Which was related to the DA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
She got over 50%.
She did.
She didn't have to go to the general election.
Right.
But much like you, she had prosecutorial experience.
She did.
She was
at the county civil division, I thought.
City. So she started when I started at the city attorney's office. She was already working there.
Okay.
And then she transitioned over to our city's civil side.
City civil.
All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if I'm successful, then I don't go to the general. And if I have to, then what happens is the top two vote getters will go to the general.
Okay.
So like if it was split, let's say 40, 40, 20, the 2 40s go to a general.
Yes.
Okay.
But if one is over 50%, 50% plus one
vote.
Yeah.
There is no
since
general
it's
election.
nonpartisan, it's just, if you had 20 people, it's the same as if you have 2. For the purposes of the primary,
Sure.
You're just going to have your vote. It's just going to say, these are the people, these are the candidates. So one thing I haven't asked anybody that I do have a question about, and it's obviously not about where you stand on issues. It's not about that or how you rule on something. But how do you get out there, that you are experienced, that you're efficient, that you know how to run a case from the ground up? How do you get that sort of stuff out there to people? Do you have, it's not debates, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like a town hall where you say, hi, I'm who I am and I'm running this and this is what I do. Like,
well, and I think, in 2026, I think just digital media is such a huge thing, right? Like everyone has a podcast. And so I think it's
just let any asshole run them, won't they?
apparently you can just buy a microphone.
Any podcast.
And we did buy these microphones and they're nice.
But, it's getting out. And for me, the biggest thing is just making sure that I'm out in the community because yes, going to the galas and things like that are important to see people. Right. And you have to talk to people because campaigns aren't run on, hopes and wishes. You have to meet people who are willing to support you and make those donations to do these things like getting out and having a digital platform and, just going out and meeting people. And every single person you meet that's potential to have a vote or 3, depending on how many adults live in their household. And, so it's.
Or how many people they tell.
Absolutely.
Right? Like Shane's got a wife. If you've convinced him today and he tells Hannah, hey, I think this is you should vote for. She'll look you up, like it. You tell somebody else.
I've got friends that live in my neighborhood.
Then you got
to go to church with
6 votes off one person, or
sure,
politicking or campaigning or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Absolutely. I mean, and so much. Listen, there's going to be a lot of folks on the ballot this year. So there's 58. Every single one of the district courts is up for election this year. You've got a governor, the sheriff is going to be on there. Plus, you've got some state representative races,
like assembly stuff or whatever.
Yeah. So a lot's going to be on the ballot. So the biggest thing I think is just worrying about like voter fatigue because we are on the very back of the ballot all the way down at the bottom.
And you can skip if you want.
So what I heard another candidate say, they were like, hey, I'm just telling people, flip your ballot over, start at the bottom and work your way up. I was like, I like it.
That's clever.
Because again, who the governor candidates are, who the sheriff candidates are, which they don't file until March, but still like, those names. But it's super important for people to learn more about their judges, in particular municipal court judges, because I was telling a group that I was talking to, you might not know someone who's been impacted or affected by a felony, but you probably know someone who's been impacted by a misdemeanor. And these are the cases that have the potential to touch the everyday life of our communities. And so it's important really to delve into that and to care about who's on the bench for those kind of things. And so that's, kind of been my platform, is just getting out and meeting the community and talking about it and trying to do an education in terms of like why these races are important.
And it is interesting because like when you do criminal law, especially for us where we operate in multiple different courts, you can think of cases as bigger or smaller. But to your point, I guess I've considered it, but I never really thought about it, right? Like, let's say I get 2 clients that come in with felonies. I get 40 that come in with misdemeanors. And maybe that's the only time I've ever been in a misdemeanor, or maybe that's the only time they've ever been a victim of a crime.
Right.
You know,
we meet people, you know, I say this all the time, but we meet people on their absolute worst days. And that doesn't matter if they are the defendant. This could be one of their absolute worst days of having to come into court and deal with something like this, deal with these charges, right? Whether they're a victim or they were someone who was a bystander and happened to see it, like these things matter to folks. And so again, you have to treat them. You can't look at them as big or small or just a misdemeanor, because they have such a heavy impact on people's everyday lives. And so for me as a prosecutor, I take that. I mean, that's a high burden, and I'm happy to carry that as a burden. But, you know, even as a judge, like really making sure that you're keyed in, that you're listening to the facts, because again, your rulings are going to impact someone's life.
And I think from that perspective, if you want to do it based on numbers, right, and not like gravity of a case, you are impacting more people.
Yeah.
What's a docket like over there? Like average number?
Sure. On any given day that's not one of the specialty court days, you can have upwards of 150 to 175 on a docket.
And so depending upon the kind of cases, you could be dealing with 175 people, community members, citizens that are our friends, neighbors, relatives, whatever, all the way up to 3-4 times that amount. Yeah. Depending upon what you're talking about, witnesses. You could be dealing with 500 people a day. That's a lot of people. How many people do you know live in the incorporated area?
There are, last count, I believe there were 430,000 registered voters in the incorporated city.
Right.
But to compare that, in the last municipal court race for Judge Wolfson, only 47,000 people voted in that race.
In the primary too.
In the primary.
Fuck.
47,000 people.
Oof. So what do you say to that? Like what's the importance of voting to you?
Yeah. Again, like for some people, again, I'll take it all the way back to being Native American, right? Like we weren't able to vote for the longest time despite having, you know, been in the country. And so every time that you have that opportunity to exercise that right, we have to take it. I just met a neighbor who is excited, and he said, this is the first time I get to vote because he just got his citizenship.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know,
I do love that. The people I've met, like my buddy Rocky, and his political views, you know, like him or not, but he is a huge Trump supporter. Came here illegally, got deported right after high school, came back legally, American business owner. The day that he got his citizenship, he was so stoked. He's like, yeah, guess who I'm voting for? And I'm like, good for you, buddy. Yeah. But he was just so stoked about it. And it's funny because I remember being 18 and being like, yeah, I get to vote. But Rocky's level of excitement, that one time trumps all the times I've ever voted and how stoked I was about anything. Even if it was a candidate I was excited to vote for because I knew him. Sure. Right? I don't get to vote for you, but if I could, I would. And I'd be stoked about it because I personally think, having known you, that and what I know about judges, I think you'd make a great judge.
And I appreciate that.
And you and I might have butted heads a bunch of times, but that speaks, I think, more towards your character as an arbiter rather than, you know, some of these other qualities. But it's like, I love seeing people who get their citizenship or the ability to do something, because we all do take that for granted. Right? As soon as you're 18, you can just do it. Right. You know? And that's really cool. And I'm very excited for you. And do you have any digital media like that people, if somebody was curious, they could look you up? And
sure. If you're on Instagram, it's at Murphy's Law LV. If you're on Facebook, it's Allycia Murphy for Las Vegas Municipal Court Department 2. And you can also check me out at my website, which is www.murphy4judge.com.
And I'm sure if you get those over to us, Austin will put it and we'll tag it in the episode, so you'll be able to put that on there.
Absolutely.
Anything I missed? I know we bullshitted a lot about your past, like where you come from, because I don't know. I grew up rural, and so I like talking to people that come from different places. Yeah. It's fun.
I mean, and I think that's also an important thing, is just we carry with us, you know, our experiences. And so I think that having a different experience just makes us a better candidate, just because, you know, you understand what it might be like to have to decide, do I pay a fine versus do I put food on a table, right? Sure. Because we've experienced times where our families might have had to kind of make those decisions as well if they found themselves in a criminal justice system. So I'm incredibly grateful for the support that I've had in terms of my family, and, you know, got some great people out there. So
yeah, people I think skip that. Even if, you know, you're regular middle class or whatever, they forget that of that 400 and however many thousand, some of them socioeconomic status, never want for anything.
Yeah.
Some of them want for almost everything. I mean, you see it in there when the in custodies are happening. A lot of those folks don't have houses.
Sure.
A lot of them have some very serious, addiction issues or whatever. And I can say this, having seen you interact, I'm just watching before my cases get called. I do believe that you show them the level of compassion that I would expect for somebody to not view them as an enemy because you're prosecuting them. They're the ops in that sense, but I believe that you still view them as human. And I appreciate that about you.
And I think, kind of like my philosophy is just that today's defendant can be tomorrow's victim. And
sometimes they contemporaneously are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so again, I can't look at just a case and treat every single person who has that particular case in the same way. That's not justice. You do have to look at the individualized facts and making the determinations, whether that's, as a prosecutor explaining or, extending a plea offer, or on the other side, if you are on the bench, making a determination when it comes to sentencing. It's important to look at the individualized facts and make those determinations, and taking into, considerations, obviously, like public safety and criminal histories and things like that. But
long and short, every case is different.
Okay, fine.
Right? I'm asking. Is that
like people? We like to pontificate. We're attorneys, right?
Right.
Yes, we use a lot of words for something very short. But yes, you have to look at every single case and treat it.
It's true.
Well, I think you'll do great. And I wish I could vote for you. I didn't know I couldn't. I really I'm kind of gutted because I just found out that I couldn't fucking vote for you. I'm actually a little pissed off right now.
It's not my fault, but
I mean, it's not your fault because you didn't choose where I picked my house at. But like at the same time, it did say Las Vegas. I don't fucking know, dude.
I know.
Well, thanks for being on. I can vote for you though. So Allycia Murphy for Municipal Court Department 2 if you're in the actual city of Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
Not just the city of Las Vegas, not whatever the fuck that
means. The non-city of Las Vegas.
Anyway, I'm glad that you're my friend still. I'm sorry for how I am as a person.
Thanks.
See you guys.